Ladies and gentlemen, this pistol has eluded me for a long time. This is the Whitney Wolverine. Let's get into the video. I'm not going to do an extreme amount of shooting like I would usually do in a review video on this particular firearm. Let me explain a little bit about this firearm. This is a Whitney Wolverine. You rimfire rats like myself know exactly what it is, but if you don't know what it is, this is one of the coolest 22 pistols ever created. This pistol was leap years ahead of its time, and the design is iconic like no other 22 pistol that's ever hit the market. I'm not going to talk 20-30 minutes on the Whitney Wolverine, but I am going to give you a very basic history lesson about this pistol. And if you want to know more about it, go watch Ian at Forgotten Weapons. He did an incredible job years ago on this firearm. If you want to know everything about it, go watch his video. But this is the Whitney Wolverine. This pistol was designed by Robert Hilberg in 1953. It was in production from 1956 to 1958. 13,371 of these bad boys were created and designed and put together. And less than 900 were actually nickel plated. And the reason why this pistol, I guess, has been so iconic, because depending on your age, you may know a character called Buck Rogers or George Jetson. Okay, I'm telling my age a little bit, but this looks like the space gun that he had. Back in the 50s, you know, it was the beginning of the space age. All the space movies that were out there in the movie theaters, companies wanted to try to create handguns and firearms to look space aged and cool. The Whitney Wolverine was that pistol. And the reason why it's called the Whitney Wolverine was because Robert was the designer of this handgun, was a huge Michigan fan. So the Michigan Wolverines, so he named it the Whitney Wolverine. The very early models of this handgun actually had Wolverine on the side right here. And shortly after making probably about 1,000 of them, they got into a little bit of legal trouble with the company. I think it was a scope company that used the Wolverine name, so they had to take the name Wolverine off of there. And yeah, so they started just stamping Whitney on the side of it. It is a 10-shot semi-automatic, and it's kind of different, but it kind of set the tone for a lot of the semi-automatic 22s that are on the market. Now let me show you this magazine, okay? This is a Stihl magazine. It's a very big magazine for a little 22 pistol, okay? If you're getting into rimfire, you may notice like Browning buck marks and, you know, your Ruger Mark 2s, 3s, 4s, so on and so forth have a much slimline magazine. This is a big magazine, but it has a hole right here on the side because it does not have a thumb tab like the other pistols that I mentioned before. So you have to put a round in it like this right here, and you can actually slide down the feed. So let me load up 10 shots. Now I've only put, oh goodness, I think I've only put maybe 40 rounds through this pistol so far, so I'm not even really for sure where the point of aim is. I really don't care where the point of aim is. Being a rimfire collector and a firearm collector for many years, I have been looking for a Whitney Wolverine probably for about 6 years. And before a lot of you get mad at me, a lot of you get upset when I make a video on a handgun like this, because y'all say that I drive the market up when I make a video that it's quote unquote a collector's item. I haven't driven the market up on this handgun at all. This gun has, for probably the past 5 or 6 years, have been highly collectible. Since they only made a little more than 13,000 of them, they're starting to come on the market more and more. And when you can find them, you're going to pay a premium. And I have tried to find one for a reasonable price in good condition. I didn't want one that was unfired. I wanted one that had been fired, but in really good shape. And I posted a picture of one that went for just a stupid amount of money on the internet on an auction. And I posted a picture and said, hey, maybe my days of owning a Whitney Wolverine have come and gone. I probably will never own one because they're they've just skyrocketed. And so I posted that picture, not really expecting anything about it. I was just telling you guys about the Whitney Wolverine and how much I wanted one. And this nice guy named Mitch. So Mitch, if you're watching this video, thank you, thank you, thank you. So Mitch contacted me. He's like, yeah, man, I got one of those in the safe. And I'm like, well, does it have the box? And he said, yes, it has the box. I'm like, well, does it have the pamphlet inside? And he said, yes. And I'm like, well, can we work something out? So Mitch, thank you so much. Because of Mitch, now I own a Whitney Wolverine. So let's shoot it a few times. All right. All right, let's go out at 100 yards on the silhouette. See if I can hit it. I don't know where my point of aim is. All right, so I know where my point of aim is. So I need to aim about 8 inches to the left of the target. So it's shooting about 8 inches left. But this is such a really, really cool pistola. Now the sights are pretty crude. I'm gonna show you a sight picture right down the sights here in just a minute. So you're not going to get a really fine bead when shooting this pistol, but this pistol was never designed to, you know, be a competition firearm. It's just a cool firearm to take to the range. And something that I always wondered, if you see this little bitty locking lug right here, this pistol was designed to take apart without any tools. And there's a small indent that you can press down here and you can unscrew this. And there was nowhere on the interwebs that I could find out if this was threaded 1/2x28. You know where I'm going with this. No, this is not threaded 1/2x28, so you cannot unscrew this locking lug and put on a suppressor. But I wanted to find out firsthand. There was nowhere on the internet that gave me that information. So now that I own one, I tried it. Of course, it didn't work. But let's load up some more. And I guess the demise of this handgun was marketing. Okay, it all boiled down to marketing. So these pistols were created in 1956 to 1958. This particular one that I have, serial number starts with 30. And when Whitney first came out with the Wolverine, their serial number started at 100,000. Okay, and there's so many conflicting answers on the internet and on forums of when exactly a pistol was created. We know that if it's, you know, between 100,000 and 101,000, it was created the first year. And after that, they could be all over the place. This one's a 30,000 serial number, so I'm thinking it was created towards the end of 1957 or early 1958. But like I mentioned before, the demise of this gun was marketing. And what happened was they created this pistol and they hired this company to do the marketing for them. And one, there's so many things that was the fall of this handgun, but the biggest thing was price. So they paid this marketing company saying for every gun you sell, you get like $16, okay? It was something like that. And you can still see the original price tag written with a ballpoint ink pen right here, and it says $39.95. That was the original price of this gun. But once they sold the firearm for $39.95 and gave the marketing company like $16 to sell these firearms, there wasn't anything left for the owner to put in his pocket. And so basically, they went bankrupt after 2 years. And there was a short time period afterwards that they put some together after 1958. But the problem was Colt and Ruger were selling their pistols, semi-automatic pistols, for $2 cheaper than the Whitney. So, you know, when you do that, $2 back in the 50s was a ton of money. And the Colt and Ruger were also really good pistols that were reliable at the time. So the demise of this handgun was basically, it was underpriced when it went to the market. But it was underpriced in a way that they couldn't make any money or compete against Colt or Ruger. So I'm just shooting regular CCI standard velocity. I made a Instagram post on this handgun I guess about a month ago, a month and a half ago, and I haven't been able to film these videos because of the cicadas. And you probably hear the katydids in the background. Those are not cicadas. It was so much louder out here. But I made a video and say I'm just going to shoot some CCI standard through it because I didn't want the firearm to blow up. All right, back in the older days, okay, there were CCI mini mags, okay? But there wasn't a lot of high velocity or hyper velocity 22 ammunition on the market. Most of it was standard velocity. So I'm going to shoot standard velocity here because once I shoot this video, this firearm is going to be cleaned, put back in the box, put in my safe, and never to be shot again. So, all right, I'm going to try the 4-inch plate at 100 yards. I've got to try it in every video. I don't know if I'll hit it or not, but we're going to try. If I hit this, it's going to be just pure luck with the sighting system, and I'm going to have to aim way left. Whoop. Okay, it didn't pick that one up. Well, the pistol is 75 years old, so. Oh! I actually hit it. I actually hit that 4-inch plate at 100 yards. I kept just walking my sights to the left here, so. Well, I did put a 22 bullet on a 4-inch plate at 100 yards. So what else can I say? If you're a collector, okay, like me, and you just enjoy really cool firearms, there's nothing more enjoyable of finally having a firearm in your collection that you've wanted for a very long time. And if it wasn't for Mitch, I wouldn't have this firearm because honestly, these things are going for thousands of dollars in this shape on the internet or in gun shops. And if you can find a nickel one with the white grips, the grips did come in black, brown, or white. 9 times out of 10 or 99% of the time, you'll find the white grips on the nickel plated ones. Those are the really rare ones. Some of them are going for over $10,000. So when I say that these pistols in the past 6-7 years have become highly collectible, they have become highly collectible. Only 13,371 were put together in those 3 short years, but they are majestic, they are space age, they are cool as kraut, and I finally have one in my collection. I don't know what else more to say. I could go into some more of the details, but on my channel with rimfires and stuff, you just get the meat and the potatoes. You get a small history lesson. And like I said before, if you want a great detail on this gun, go over and watch Ian's video with Forgotten Weapons. And he did a really, really good job on this handgun. Guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions or any old stories about cool little rimfires like this, put them in the comments below. Until next time, y'all be safe and keep blinking.